What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another NBA Rundown brought to you courtesy of Run Pure Bets and Run Pure Sports. I'm joined today by JSU. How are we doing today, JSU?
Pretty good. Yesterday was a pretty good day, right? Pretty good day for DFS. The cores were really good over at Run Pure Sports. We had some fire lineups, subscribers winning big money, and then on the bet side, man, the one thing I got wrong was definitely the best bet, which I like the Wizards, and man, I can't believe I got off my Knicks and that happened, and I'll take the L on that one. That was definitely wrong. Me and Mangone were both on the Wizards. I jumped off my Knicks too early spread. Maybe I should just consider myself a Knicks fan for this year and just stick to betting them in those close games against bad defensive teams that they're facing because they were just way better. And man, I felt like an idiot for that pick. But I was happy at least that you gave the best bet, which I also liked, and I said on the show, which was the New Orleans side,
Mm-hmm.
which I think when we hit that game, all of us were on board with. And then
Yeah,
the Suns, right? We all like the Suns.
exactly.
That was close, and I like to me, I was kind of shocked that that spread was as close as it was, and I
Mm-hmm.
was like, yeah, the Suns are just a better team right now. So the Suns did it for us. So I mean, really, the three bets we gave out, those were the three main ones, anyways, that I remember talking about or talking up. So I was at least happy that two of them hit. But we're gonna try and get the trifecta today, right? We need 3-0. We need perfection here. So I'm gonna do my best.
All right, well, yeah, let's jump right into it because we're going to have plenty of opportunities here, plenty of games to choose from. So it's not like we're being trapped down into capping games that we don't like. The first game, I'm definitely interested to hear your thoughts. I see Leonard in the chat talking about the Nuggets being too easy. I'm almost wondering if this game is too easy. It's the Indiana Pacers at home. Hosting the Detroit Pistons, who are only 12 and 30 on the year. Now they are 21 and 18 against the spread. So they are covering in these games that they lose, but usually they cover. This is right around where they start covering. It's the +6. The Pacers are only 19 to 23. Obviously, they've had a lot of problems with health this year. The trade of Oladipo, and then they just didn't get Levert till a couple days ago. But he seems to be fitting in pretty well. Indiana coming off just getting. They got destroyed by Milwaukee the other night. I was on Milwaukee in that one. It was a terrible spot. It was just. I think it was 4 and 6 or 5 and 7 days for Indiana. So they got a day to rest, and they also just have just the motivation of coming off a terrible loss. So I kind of like the Pacers to put it on the Pistons here at home. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that this game is definitely different depending on what Miles Turner and Brogdon news becomes. Do they
Hmm.
end up being out? Right now, they're questionable. They rested last game, so do we expect them, or not rested, but they were out last game? Do
Right.
we expect them to be out again? If so, I think Detroit can give them a better game, and it's more of a closer game if that's the case. But if they're in, then I definitely lean with you, the Indiana side. So I think that news is key, though, for this game, because honestly, if those guys are out, I might actually lean the Detroit side. Even though they're bad, they still kind of hang around and stuff like that. So I could see this being a game where they hang around. The last game for Indiana, like they were just outmatched, right? Like that Bucks team was just way better from the jump, right? All
And
those
they
the
were
Drew,
tired. It was just a terrible schedule spot for
well,
them.
and like Drew Holiday, they were hitting every three. Pat Connaughton was 5 for 5 from three after like the
Hmm.
first half or something like that.
Yeah.
Like they were hitting every shot. Bryn Forbes came off the bench and was knocking down threes. Drew Holiday was hitting step backs from the corner. Like Brooke Lopez started off the game like 5 for 5 just from the field. Like everything was going right from that for them. You know what I mean? I felt like all their players just had like fire emojis.
Yeah.
Like they all just had the DK fire emojis. Well, that's what Indiana kind of went up against, and they kind of weathered the storm. Right after the first half, they kind of came back a little in the second half, and then it was just too much in the end. Too much Milwaukee in the end, but they tried to make it a game for a little bit in the second half. So I give them respect for that, but they were just outmatched in that game. This game, they're not going to be outmatched, like no matter
Yeah.
what. Like Brogdon sits, Turner sits. doesn't matter. Like they still can easily beat Detroit, but I don't think it's as easy of a bet if those guys are out.
And I don't think you're exaggerating when you said that all the Milwaukee players had fire emojis on DK, because I think the Giannis news came out afterwards, so none of the prices were adjusted, and it was like they put up what 130, 140. So I remember it was like you pretty much couldn't go wrong if you had a buck in your lineup on Monday night. So,
Yeah, like
but
if you picked a buck, you weren't wrong. I don't
yeah,
think. Like,
yeah,
yeah, if you didn't have Drew Holiday, you were probably really mad if you had like
yeah.
$5 and no Drew Holiday. But if you picked a buck in your lineup, you really weren't wrong.
Yeah, definitely not. So, all right. Well, we'll keep an eye on the news on the NBA countdown. Just you and Holden tonight, or are you gonna have any more special guests?
I don't know. People are gonna have to, just tune in and see. I try to make it interesting for the people, and people asked for some K Phallic last night. They got some K Phallic, so
All right.
well, hopefully we can get some more special guests in there. Maybe Big T. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens.
All right. And if you're not a member, but you do want to tune in to find out, head over to runpuresports.com. Use the promo code HEATER25. That gives you access to the final countdown show that JSU does with Holden every Monday through Friday. That goes right up to lock. And he's basically on there disseminating all the late news and answering your questions as a Run Pure Sports member in the Discord. So, for example, I'm finishing out my lineup. I only have 6K left. I can throw it to JSU. Hey, JSU, I got 6K left on DK and I need a forward. And he'll give you his best idea to go ahead and help fill out those lineups and allow you to start cashing in the DraftKings realm. So, runpuresports.com, promo code HEATER25. Let's go ahead and talk about the next game we have here. And I think this game is interesting. Now, if you got it early, this line was 3.5 last night, as they did not expect Giannis to play. I'm sorry, I'm talking about the Boston Celtics, who are 21-22, heading to Milwaukee to take on the Bucks. So yeah, there was 3.5s available last night, as we weren't sure if Giannis was going to play. Now I think that it seems pretty likely that he is going to play, as Milwaukee's all the way out to -6. At that shorter line, less than 5, I liked Milwaukee. Now I'm completely off this game, as this is where I have it modeled at 6 right now. If you were to force me to take a lean on the current number, I would still lean towards Milwaukee, but I don't love it, and it's not a play for me. What do you think about this game, and would you get involved? My guess is after this line move, it's really Boston if you want to bet it pregame. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, I would agree. Giannis did practice yesterday, they said. So
Mm-hmm.
if he practiced yesterday, I would assume that he's going to, probably suit up today. That's just my feeling overall.
Mm-hmm.
You never know with these studs, though, because you never know what it actually is. And if a team wants to be extra careful with their stud and stuff like that, are the studs pushing to play? So it's against Boston. This is it's a big game. These are two of the
Game.
better teams in the East, right? And I think they definitely try and get up for each other and want to win this game. So I definitely am leaning towards Giannis playing here. But I also agree with you that I'm kind of leaning the Celtics if you pin me into a corner and say, hey, we need to pick a game. But we have 11 games on this slate. And like you said, if I feel like I'm being pinned into a corner, I don't have to bet this game, right? Like
Exactly.
I don't have to go this way. Or I can find a player prop that I really like. Like we can do that too, but I don't have to bet this game. Like that's my feeling here is, yeah, I'd like to know, is Giannis playing? Is he not? I feel like he's going to play. I feel like the Celtics are my lean. But, I mean, we're going to talk about, this Nuggets game in a second. I really like a side there. There are a few other games where I like. So I'm just going to kind of wait for those spots. Just like in DFS. I don't press in DFS on these big slates. I feel like a lot of people do. They want to get pieces of everything and every game. And, I got to have exposure to this game and a little exposure here. It's like, no, like, why don't you just focus on a few games? I feel the same way with betting. It's like focus on a few games and really key in on what you like, whether it's the over under, total, like anything, player props. That's how I feel. And this game to me, it's just screaming, hold off, wait, see what happens. Maybe Giannis is out, and maybe you can grab it before it moves. I probably not, but they'll take it off. But who knows?
And I made my case for liking Milwaukee without Giannis. I think during the regular season it's fine for short periods
What's
of
it?
time. I think
What's
they can
this?
all
Where's
absorb.
the spread go if Giannis is out? Like
Back to three
what?
and a half.
Back to 3.5?
That
Yeah.
would be my
Okay.
guess. Yeah.
I think he
Yeah.
plays. I think it's a silly
That's what the
conversation anyway.
spread's telling
Because
me right now is
yeah,
that they expect him to play and they haven't had any
yeah.
news. So I think from a DFS perspective, this game's pretty open and shut, right? We can stay away from it if Giannis plays. If he's out and he's ruled out, and I'm watching, the final countdown with you guys, I better get as many Milwaukee guys back in this lineup as I can, right?
Yeah, I mean, if you watch that last game, you're definitely going to look at these other Milwaukee guys and say,
Mm-hmm.
they're all underpriced, or a lot of them are underpriced. So
Yeah.
I'm sure it'll be that case. But again, I'm doing the playbook at Run Pure Sports. I'm writing it up kind of now, and throughout the next like couple hours, and it's going to say like I think Giannis plays. That's how I feel. I think we're going to get that news too. Obviously before the game starts, but like a little earlier than that. So
Mm-hmm.
I think we'll be good to go. I'm not thinking about secondary Bucks in my lineup because I think he plays.
Yeah, and I also think that he's tougher to spend up with coming off the injury. I mean, even if Budenholzer knocks him down 5 minutes, that could ruin your spend up. So I think that's something else to keep in mind there. So yeah, not making a play here, but we'll be tuning into the final countdown and see what adjustments need to be made. Now, this next game, I think you already mentioned that you did have a stronger feel for, and I think I'm going to be right with you here. It's the Nuggets, who are 26-17, heading to Toronto, who are now 17-26. The Toronto Raptors have lost 9 games in a row, while the Nuggets have won 9 of their past 11. So two teams going in completely opposite directions. And I mean, if I pull it up, didn't Toronto just lose to Houston? That was their most recent game, right? So losing
Yep.
to the worst team in the league. Tough to back Toronto in this spot. Is this just too obvious and too easy? What's going on here?
Yeah, I mean, I just think it's the Nuggets, and I know they're coming off the back-to-back, but they looked really good last night.
They did.
I don't think Toronto has an answer for Jokic. Listen, what Toronto does well, and I think they do better, is when they go small.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't think they can play small against Denver. There's no way. And if they do, it's going to open up so many open shots because Jokic will find those open plays. Like, he is a really good passer. So if you're going to double him, like if you're going to double him on the post or whatever like that, he's just going to find an open cutter, and it's going to be an easy layup for an MPJ or an open shot for Will Barton or Jamal Murray. So I think there's a lot of paths here where it just leads to a Denver win, and I really like them. I just don't see how Toronto matches up really well with them. I think it's a tough matchup for them because they're going to have to play guys like Aaron Baines more minutes. I think Chris Boucher, but even him, like he's too skinny. Like
Yeah.
Jokic is just going to push him down. He's going to offensive rebound right over him, put back. He's going to shoot over him. He's just going to bully him. Like so. I don't know. I see this as, Baines is going to have to play, and I even think Baines is going to struggle guarding him on the perimeter because Jokic catches the ball at the top of the key. So I love Jokic again. I love him from a DFS standpoint again. He was like 4% owned last night, and he was in core plays. I know he was in my core plays. He was in Big T's core plays, Kate Fallick. So we were all on Nikola Jokic at low ownership. And he crushed 71 fantasy points. I think he could honestly crush again. So I love this game, and I love the Nuggets.
Yeah, I mean, you brought up the great point here when you're talking about, okay, how does Toronto stop him? So let's say they use Boucher. He's too small, and one of the worst parts about him being small is he can't really disrupt the passing lanes and Jokic's line of sight if you try to bring that double in, right? So now if you do want to double, you basically need a guy with Baines to be big enough to kind of disrupt that way. And then, like you said, it's just too easy for Jokic to go outside in that case, and they're going to have too many cutters. You can't double him when he's way out there. So it's going to be really tough. But if anyone can design it, it's Nick Nurse. But yeah, I'm really surprised that this line is so short. I kept waiting for some news to drop, right? I said they have to know something we don't know. I have this line as -4.5 with the way the current team is going, and you got to think that my model doesn't even take account things that are swirling around the team, like these trade rumors, right? Before
Yeah.
this 9-game losing streak, I think it was up in the air whether or not Toronto was going to be a buyer or a seller, right? Now I think it's obvious. The buyer's out. They're either a seller
Yeah.
or they're stand pat, you know.
And so one thing that's interesting too is like, you know, Kyle Lowry was mentioned in rumors, right?
A lot. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of rumors. And then on the Nuggets side, they've been mentioned as suitors for Aaron Gordon and some other
Exactly.
guys. So
Hmm.
who I mean, if they're saying, I think like I heard Bull was in that trade conversation. Are they going to give up a Will Barton too? Like what do they give up to get a guy like Aaron Gordon? I don't know. I'm assuming they're not going to give up MPJ out, not for Aaron
There's no
Gordon,
way.
anyways.
There's no way.
Like
No.
so. One interesting thing though, and one prop that I kind of really like. I talked about it with Jokic, which I think at some point they're going to need to send help. And one guy, like I'm just looking at his prop right now. Michael Porter Jr., his points prop 16.5.
Hmm.
I like the over there. His look at his game log: 18, 17, 19, 28, 20, 23, 21, 24. He's went over that in his last 8 games. Give me Michael Porter Jr., who's been playing a lot better. Double digit shots in his last like 5 games. I think he's a guy who could benefit because if you're going to end up doubling Jokic or kind of focusing more on him, it's going to lead to more open shots for guys like MPJ in the corner when the ball gets swung or cutters to the basket. And MPJ, one thing he's been doing really well is easy buckets. He likes to leak out. Jokic throws that long bomb to him. You know, he cherry picks a little bit, but he gets those easy buckets either in transition or just cutting right by people to the hoop. And he's so big and athletic, you know, once he gets near the rim, he can just dunk it. So I think he's an interesting bet for an over. I also think Fred VanVleet at 19.5
Hmm.
points, I think that's an over. He's played 41 minutes in his last 3 games. 41 minutes. You're telling me I'm getting a win against Denver for 41 minutes in Fred VanVleet, who can get hot from the 3-point line, and we know that dude likes the chuck.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'll take my chances. Right spread for Fred VanVleet. So 41 minutes, sign me up.
I like the Porter play even more. I'm with you on both of them, but just to back you up on this Porter play here, during this 9-game losing streak that they're on, the least amount of points they've given up is 114. So in our head, we have this idea of Toronto being this great defense is because we're going back to the years before. I mean, even last year going in the bubble, they were a top 5 defense. That's no longer the case. Serge Ibaka's not here anymore. Even if Paul Gasol was there, he's washed. I mean,
Yep.
so they've lost that rim protection now. They're still pretty good at the point of attack, but if you beat them, scheme your way by them, they're not stopping you at the rim, and it's the difference between being a top 5 defense and where they are now, which is a below average, mediocre defense. So
One
I
other
really
thing
like that
too.
Porter prop.
One other thing too is like Kyle Lowry. I mean, if he goes, that's another key defensive guy where like he's pretty good on the ball. He likes to
Hmm.
gamble a lot though, which
Yeah.
puts them sometimes in compromised positions when he tries to go for steals or he just kind of he overplays the offensive player at times because he's trying to look for that pocket steal
Hmm.
and go and stuff. He's trying to pressure. But that puts their team in bad positions at times. So, like, the defense is just not what it was, right? And I think
Right.
people still look at Toronto, like you said, and say that, like, oh, Toronto, their defense. Now, not this year. Serge Ibaka might have been a bigger loss than everyone was really putting stock in.
Oh yeah, he was huge, and I thought that pickup was so big for the Clippers, and so we'll see how that plays out during the playoffs. But they've definitely lost some of their rim protection. Like like I just said, I think they're still pretty good at the point of attack. But if you can scheme your way past that, or just find an individual matchup that you can beat, the rim protection isn't there anymore, and it shows in the amount of points that they're giving up. So this is the game that we both endorse and we're in full agreement on. Grab it now. Denver Nuggets -2 on the road against the Toronto Raptors. This next game, I'm actually not going to give you what I'm on for this game. JSU, because this was the game that I wrote my article about for Run Pure Sports. So all the Run Pure members can head on over. I know JJ put it in the Discord, or before you go ahead and place the pick, you want a little more information, it's also posted on our spreadsheet play over there at runpurebets.com. If you're not a member right now, bets 25 off is the code to get 25% off your first month. So I will not tell you the side that I took, but I'll be interested to hear where you are at. It's the Cleveland Cavaliers 16-27 and 17-26 against the spread, heading to Chicago to take on the Bulls, who are 19-23, 23-18 against the spread. The Cavaliers coming off that 14-point loss in Sacramento, and Chicago coming off a 25-point loss to the Jazz. So two teams coming off a loss. The Cavaliers catching 6. Who do you like?
Yeah, so this is interesting. Spread's kind of holding out on the people. I like it, though. I like it. Make them go get the winners. So,
Yeah.
I mean, maybe I'm on the same side as you. To me, I'm kind of leaning the Cleveland side here,
Okay.
taking the points. I like the matchups inside for them. Chicago has literally gotten eaten up inside the last few matchups. And some of the bigs that they've faced, I mean, some of them are like, obviously they've got beaten up against Jokic. Rudy Gobert had a good time. But, I mean, Detroit, Mason Plumlee and Isaiah Stewart had their way down low. Jakob Poeltl in San Antonio, Jakob Poeltl busted them down low. I'm pretty sure Moses Brown had his way down low against them for OKC. Like, they've just been getting smashed by the center position. And we got Jared Allen coming in here. Larry Nance, he's a big body. He can rebound at a high rate. I think they're going to give them some trouble down low. And then when those guys come out of the game, JaVale McGee, who he's kind of he's a weird player. Like some games he just checks out, but he has those random monster games where like in 15 minutes, he just goes crazy. And this could be a perfect matchup for his 15 minutes where we see almost like what's the Sacramento matchup was, where in 19 minutes, he had 18 points and 9 rebounds. I wouldn't be shocked if JaVale McGee got close to a double-double in 15 to 19 minutes if he got the run, because Chicago's that bad. So I really like the mismatch down low. I'm going to take the Cleveland side here over Chicago, who maybe Chicago's a little bit of a better team, but I think Cleveland might be able to take advantage of them down low.
All right. So the thing is, the injury report is actually pretty clean for this game. We have 11 games on the slate. Is there going to be any of these guys making it in the roster, or is it just kind of, unless a late injury scratch comes up?
I mean, I think I just gave the hint if there's anyone that's gonna be thought about in my roster,
for
it's gonna be
value.
those bigs from
Okay.
Cleveland, that's for sure. So
Yeah, what's
yeah.
McGee price at? Like 3,400 or something?
Yeah,
So
he's
you'd be
like
20 points from
3,500
him?
or something. Yeah, he's like 3,500, 3,800 on FanDuel, and blocks mean a ton more on FanDuel. So I think, if he's power forward, I keep forgetting. So he's been listed at power forward for whatever reason on FanDuel. He's still listed at power forward. So
They don't even
yeah,
mess around, right? I mean, they're just going off there. Did they even put the trades in? Like, do they even know that PJ Tucker's on the Bucks now? I mean,
no
it's
idea.
unbelievable what they're doing.
FanDuel's a shit show. So yeah.
One other question about this. I know that we usually attack the game with the injuries, but we have look at the backcourts, right? We got a bunch of guards that can score and a bunch of guards that can't defend. I mean, if you're making a lot of lineups, you gotta stack the guards somehow. Wouldn't you agree here?
Well, spread. There's just so many good spots on the slate. I think
Uh-huh.
once you start like really digging into the players on this slate, and like for DFS, the price tags, I don't hate it. Like I don't think the guards are bad plays or anything like that.
Uh-huh.
I just think there are so many good plays in games where I'm probably not going to go heavy on this game as like a stack. But I mean, I definitely think you could look there.
Yeah, and I guess you make a good point. The total's only 216 here, so with 11 games on the slate, maybe stacking the game with the total 216, what wasn't my best idea. Let's jump on to the next game here. The Charlotte Hornets, who they won as a 5-point dog after losing LaMelo Ball. The team didn't seem down. I was a little worried how this was going to affect them and their attitude. Losing kind of. A linchpin energy guy like Lamelo, but they seem to do just fine in beating the San Antonio Spurs. And then the Houston Rockets got their first win of the year over the aforementioned Toronto Raptors. I think it's a big letdown spot for Houston. I think they got that monkey off their back. They don't have that record losing streak anymore, and we can go back to fading them. What do you think?
Yeah, what's the spread at right now? 3? Where are we at with this?
-3.5.
-3.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think Houston, with everyone pretty much available outside, Kevin Porter's questionable, but they got their 3 main guys available. I think they can keep it somewhat close in this game. I do think in the end, though, the Hornets could end up winning this game. So I'm kind of back and forth. I think it's honestly one of those games where I kind of talked about it, where the Celtics, where it's like I feel like it's a little close to call, where if I have to lean one way, I guess I would lean the Hornets, but I think it's not a bet that I'm going to end up actually taking.
Yeah, I haven't placed a bet either, but it just seems to me I can't go back to Houston after that big win. I don't think we're going to see a good performance out of them.
I don't like Houston. I've been
Yeah,
talking down on Houston for like the last few weeks. I'm just saying, though, it's like the Hornets didn't look good to me either. Like,
against the Spurs.
yeah, like I didn't like the way they looked personally, anyways. But I don't, LaMelo Ball was a huge loss. It was a huge
I
loss for
agree.
that team. It changes the complete style of their offense too, because like I said this on another show, like Terry Rozier and Devontae Graham, they're like half court guards. They
Yeah.
like to get their shots in the flow of the offense,
Mm-hmm.
the half court offense. Whereas LaMelo Ball likes to get shots in transition. He likes to push the ball in transition. Devontae Graham likes to kind of slow it up, set everything up. Terry Rozier loves that corner 3 now. He's got that thing down. Like they like to kind of move the ball and get shots off pick and roll and through ball movement. And it's just a different style. So it kind of slows them down even more at times without LaMelo in there. So, I mean, but either way, I didn't like the way they looked. The one guy I think is really interesting, and you could say it from a DFS side. I want to look and see if there are any props I can find on this guy. But Malik Monk had a down game last game, and I know some people might have been on him last game. He kind of disappointed. But this is like the perfect spot where I could see a bounce back game for a guy like Malik Monk, where I feel like he's a perfect example of a player who like he can dominate lesser competition, like teams that are just bad, like bad teams. He can just dominate, and he'll have those random like 25-point games where he just goes out and he's just hitting everything.
Mm-hmm.
Like I wouldn't be shocked if we got a Malik Monk who was just on fire, caught fire for this game, and got wherever he wanted on the court. And I kind of like him as I don't know if he's going to be sneaky or not. I don't know. I haven't looked at. I don't think there's any ownership up yet. But if there is, I mean, hopefully he's low owned. I would assume after that bust he is.
I think he will be. It wasn't a complete bust, so I don't think he got the snowflake, right? It was just normal on a night of fire.
I think he got like 18 fantasy points. So
yeah, I think I rostered him. I think he was in some cores, and that wasn't my best night. And it sucked because I rostered everyone in the winning lineup, but I just didn't put that combination together.
The best part is he almost got the exact amount of minutes as Devontae Graham. I think he was 2 off Graham's minutes, and Malik Monk had a horrible shooting night. 1 for 6 from 3, 5 for 15 from the field.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if he was hitting some of his threes, he might have got a few extra minutes. So I wouldn't be shocked if he's hitting his shots if he got 30 minutes in this game, right? And if he gets 30 minutes at 4,300, he could smash.
Yeah, if I remember right, he was 4,400 last time,
Yeah,
And
something like that. Yep.
yeah, I mean, if I told you, beforehand, didn't even say the player's name, but hey, I'm going to pay 4,400 and I'm going to get 15 attempts, right? I mean, that sounds like pretty
Yeah.
good value there.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, you know who Malik Monk is, right? He's a scorer. Like he's not
yeah,
going to
I
do
mean,
much else. It's not like he's going to get 10 rebounds
right.
or, have 8 assists or something like that. But could he hit 5 threes, 6 threes? Yeah,
Yeah.
he's that type of scorer, man. He could definitely do it.
Especially on DraftKings where you get the 3-point bonus. It could be
Yep.
a little more valuable over there. Although FanDuel might still price him as a rookie at 3K, or 35K or whatever their minimum is. So,
And
uh,
the Miz asked us if we talk any MKF Monkey Knife Fight bets. No, we don't on this show, but we have a Discord channel for Monkey Knife Fight. So
yeah.
if you want to talk some Monkey Knife Fight, get in that Discord channel and talk up some Monkey Knife Fight. If you're a member at Run Pure Sports, which I think
Unless
you are,
there's
because I
lots of
think I've seen
Miz's
you over
running
there.
around. Yeah, I
Yeah,
recognize the Miz, unless it's just another one. Big
yeah.
fan of Maurice as well. So what's up, Miz? Dallas Mavericks are 22 and 19, 19 and 22 against the spread. They head to Minnesota to take on the Timberwolves, who are 10 and 33, 17 and 25 against the spread. Timberwolves have been playing a little better. Anthony Edwards is obviously, I think, the future lead guard of that team. D'Angelo Russell, no good. I think that they're blessing by disguise that he's out here. Still no Malik Beasley. Towns is obviously, going to be big in DFS in this matchup, I would think, as the Mavericks struggle to stop guys in the middle here. What do you think? I kind of lean towards taking the 8 points here. Thought this might be like a bit of a letdown spot here for Dallas. I also like the over in this game. What are you thinking?
Yeah, so I'm with you on Minnesota. I think that they can keep it close. Like you said, Towns, I think, is a mismatch for a team like Dallas. But also Anthony Edwards. He had a down game last game. He kind of busted for people, but that dude, he is going to keep getting third. Me and DC talked about it. If you haven't listened to it yet, we do like an NBA morning podcast. It's on iTunes, Spreaker, all that stuff, if you want to check it out. But me and DC were talking, we were breaking down each game, and we talked about this game, and he just loves Anthony Edwards and pretty much said that the dude is just locked into his like 35 plus minutes most nights, as long as the game stays somewhat relevant. And, he's going to chuck, and he's just going to keep chucking. Like, they want this kid to build confidence. And I think this is the perfect season, right? They're not going anywhere. Like, why not? Like, let your number one, your first round pick, let him build confidence and get in a flow with Cat. And I think he's got huge upside. We've seen the 60-point ceiling from him, and I think he's really interesting tonight for DFS at low ownership, because I don't know if people are going to go back to him after the last game.
He had
So,
two
and his
bad games
price
in a
is up.
row.
Yeah,
Um,
and his price is up too. So it's not
right.
like you're getting him at 6K like you were for a few games. So
Yeah.
that, I think, from a betting side though, the Minnesota side is the side I lean, and I don't mind the over, because I do think Dallas. I think Luka, like, this is a matchup where Luka
He's gonna
should
crush.
easily just dominate. Yeah,
Yeah.
he's going to get wherever he wants on the floor. He's just going to dominate. I might like, as just saying, I might rank Luka over Harden tonight, like for DFS. Like, when I do the playbook, like, I think Luka might be the better play over Harden. Honestly,
Yeah.
could be wrong.
Yeah. Well, I'll take your word for it. There. A couple things about Anthony Edwards, though. So he had a great fantasy night against Phoenix on the 18th, right? Then he got all the attention the follow up night, right? I mean, they schemed him out of the game. They said, we're not letting that happen again. And then that didn't happen again. And then he had a rough night against OKC. Did you watch that one? Did he draw some Lou Dort attention there? Because Lou Dort will give anyone a rough night, even if you're a
You know,
veteran.
I can't remember, to be honest
I
with
can't
you.
remember. I didn't watch it because
Yeah,
I didn't wager that game. I remember I was
I'm
completely
trying.
off
I'm
it.
trying to think. I'm sure I have the game on. I can't remember though off the
Yeah,
top of my
but
head.
if Lou Dort was on him, but the last point I wanted to make was I think he is a little bit blowout proof, because, like you said, they do want him to get his confidence. And I have watched
Yeah.
games where they pull the older vets, they pull Rubio, they'll pull Towns when they're getting blown out, and they'll let him just run the show. And the idea
Yep.
is you're going to get confidence, especially going against the other team's second or third stringers, where he's already one of the most athletic guys on the floor, and his athleticism is just amplified going against the backup. So
So Nick Ebert says Dort was out for that game.
yeah, I
So he
was
didn't.
wondering. I wonder who was on him because he did struggle in that game. I saw the line because he's one of my favorite guys. I'm always messaging Tyler whenever he does something cool. Um, let's
So,
see.
but one thing before A. Dean says, Title taught me the blueprint on how to beat Big
Oh
T.
yeah,
Now you just have to learn how to dribble. A. Dean, I've known how to dribble for a really long time. I can actually dribble. I can hoop. Like I actually played my whole life. I'm never kidding about basketball. Like I did actually grow up and play basketball my entire life. So I know how to dribble. I haven't dribbled in a while, but I can definitely still dribble. I mean, title's definitely been hooping recently. So I'm not going to say I've been playing as much basketball as Title recently because probably not. He probably plays like every couple of days, like he said he does. But I definitely know how to dribble, and I knew the blueprint to beating Big T. Even if I had multiple dribbles, I'd just keep dribbling around until he got tired. That's the way to beat Big T. You just get him tired. I'll just run around in circles, dribbling until he gets exhausted. Then I'll just start, scoring.
Lando, were you at this the Roto
See,
Grinders
Landa
game?
knows. Landa
Yeah,
knows.
yeah.
Dominated. That's right, Landa. See, this is why I love Landa. Like Landa knows.
Yeah, first he
Just
tells us that Maladon was the one that shut down Edwards, and then talks about your great Rotogrinders
trust in
performance.
Landa. He knows.
All right. Well, thank
He
you for that,
knows.
Landa. Let's jump into the next game. The Memphis Grizzlies, 20 and 20, 22 and 17 against the spread, head to Oklahoma City to take on the Thunder, who are 19 and 24, but 24 and 19 against the spread. If you remember, it was like 10 days ago, it was a Sunday game. These two teams played. I thought it would be a good idea to take the under, and they put up like 250, which was unbelievable because the total was like 217 or something. So I'm staying away from the total of this game. The side is now -5, -4.5, depending on which book you're looking at. What do you think of this game? Because you talked about crossing games off, and I crossed this game off when I was going through my prep this morning, bright and early.
So I'm going to be honest with you. I missed the actual game that you said because
Memphis
I was
versus
reading the
OKC.
chat and
Yeah,
Landa just kept talking about how
yeah.
I blew by Big T. And man, I blew by Big T. God, that was easy. So I remember it. Landa. And then I hit the step back to win the game. Yep, I
Oh
remember the whole
wow.
thing. So tell me you were talking about like the Suns and the Magic because
No, I was
that's the
talking
game
about
I get.
Memphis and OKC.
Oh, that's another game I crossed off. Yeah,
I mean, it's just
this is a game I definitely crossed off. But I will say, Thunder, when they even when they haven't had their main guys, they have continuously been a nag in teams and kept games somewhat close.
mm-hmm.
I wouldn't be shocked if they did it here. They beat this Memphis team. They dropped 128
Yeah, it was
points on them.
128. I know because I
They
had
dropped
the under, and I'm just sitting
128
there, and it
points.
was dead in the second quarter.
And Horford wasn't in that game. They might have been missing Dort too, I think, because I'm pretty sure they started Ty Jerome. SGA
Yeah.
dropped 30. All they were doing was keying in on SGA, and he still had 30. And even when they were keying on him, he still was getting to the hole and stuff like that and making ridiculous shots. So I wouldn't be shocked if OKC won this game. Like that's I think how up and down Memphis is, and then how just this OKC team. You want to talk about a team that just tries their ass off every game. I mean, they do, and they don't care who's in or who's out. They don't care if SGA plays, if he doesn't play. Al Horford, it doesn't matter to them. They don't check out of games. Very rarely have you seen it. So, I mean, I'm not going to discount OKC. I think if I leaned one way, I'd lean them, but it's definitely a riskier play, right?
Yeah, and the same thing is I just kind of pass over in betting. Are you just kind of passing over it for DFS, or what are we expecting here?
Oh, this is a pass for me with DFS. The
Okay.
only guy I will say is SGA is 7,000 on
Uh-huh.
FanDuel,
Uh-huh.
and that's just really cheap. I mean, on DraftKings, he's priced more appropriately at
Yeah.
8,300.
Uh-huh.
So I think on FanDuel, you're getting a real value for SGA. So he's the one guy I would kind of look at if I was playing anyone in this game.
Yeah, on FanDuel, I think he's still listed as a Clipper. That's been how long since they've updated their prices. But let's go ahead and jump into the next game. The Phoenix Suns are 29-13 and 29-13 against the spread. They head to Orlando to take on the
Oh,
Magic 14
wait a
and
second.
21.
SGA's out. Did I miss that? When did that come out?
Is that in the
Just
chat?
dropped 10 to 15 minutes ago. Oh, yeah. Thank you,
Let's see what
Adine.
that line
Adine's on
changed
top
to
of
then.
it.
Thank you.
What
Yeah,
was
let me see what that line changed to.
I didn't even see that. Thank you very much. I got to take him.
Only a point and a half, huh? It's plus 6.5 now.
Man, that tells you that's respect for OKC, man. I'm telling you, they grind these games out. I don't know.
I almost think you're just getting like a free point and a half because they put out, like you said, they put out 100% effort no matter who's out there.
Yeah, that's how I feel too. My one worry always with OKC is, man, they just don't have a lot of shooting. But somehow it seems like they just make enough shots where it's okay.
I think because their defense is so good, they get plenty of transition opportunities.
Yeah, you might be right. Actually, you might be right on that. I'm trying to think from like a DFS side. So Baisley's out, SGA's out, George Hill's been out. Yeah, I'm probably still not going to have interest in a lot of these guys. Al Horford's in, which kind of screws up the bigs because I'm assuming he's just going to start. Maladone's going to start. So like Ty Jerome, we probably won't see him in the starting lineup. I mean, he's 4,800, mid 20s minutes. Yeah, I mean, I'm probably going to be off of most of this game still. But I still don't mind the OKC side if you want like a real risky bet. But
hey, if you do decide to do that, right? I would wait. I don't think Oklahoma City with SGA out is going to take any money. So it's 6.5 now. I mean, by the time you're on the final countdown with Holden, I might be placing it at plus 7.5. That wouldn't surprise me. I can't see as well as OKC does against the spread. They still are not popular amongst the public, and I think it's just because nobody knows any of their players. So if you
everyone just knows they lost like a lot of their team last year,
right,
like their main guys, right? Like Paul and Schroeder and Gallinari, a lot of guys that were Steven Adams. So that's what people know, right? They lost 4 of their 5 starters. They don't know anyone else.
Yeah, and they have like 15 draft picks in the next 7 years or something ridiculous like that. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out. All right, but let's see. Let's jump on this Suns game, though. They're in Orlando, and they're laying 10 points to the Magic. Lately, I've been taking the points with the Magic when we're doing these shows, but I don't actually place the bet because I'm so worried that the team is going to be in upheaval. But if I placed it right now here at 10:45 a.m. on the West Coast, right, and the game would start till 4:45, what if Gordon gets traded? What if Fournier gets traded? I mean, Vukovic, even though I don't think
what
they
if they
will trade
sit
him.
them out? What if they sit them out, right?
Or even if they're close to getting traded, right? So,
like that's what I mean, though. They could just say, hey, the trade deadline's tomorrow. We don't have a trade yet, but we're just going to hold you out because we don't want you to get injured right before we're about to trade you, which is a real concern for, I'm sure, some of these teams, right, that are playing today. Think of every single guy on the trade block. Like, if you're a GM and you're looking at these guys, you don't want them to get hurt. Right, like that's the last thing you want. So cautious. I mean, being cautious would be just saying, "Hey, dude, you know what? We just can't risk it. Tomorrow, you might be getting shipped off. Like we can't risk you getting hurt. Like we're just gonna hold you out, and that's that." So I wouldn't be shocked if some of these guys just got held out. So maybe waits. But I mean, where were you leaning on this game?
I was going to take the points to the Magic. I mean, it's plus 10. Phoenix played last night.
That's some more respect, at least, for Phoenix, how good they've been playing.
They won last night, but it wasn't as easy as the score looked. They got up to that big lead, right? And then Miami came back and made it a game, right? And really made them work for the win.
I still don't think it should have been 2.
Well,
against
yeah.
Miami.
Yeah,
There's just,
I mean,
in my opinion, it's just an overrated Miami. Like you're overrating Miami, or you just don't know how good Phoenix is. Like I
yeah,
just thought it was wrong. Like I just thought it
it's a
was wrong.
combination of
Yeah, it
both,
was. That's all I'm saying is I just thought the spread was wrong yesterday. We talked about it yesterday, but this
yeah.
Phoenix team is good. Like they're so good. And you know what's best about them is they have like three really good players, but I think they all kind of know where they fit, right? Like
Hmm.
Ayton isn't trying to like push on Chris Paul and Booker. Like Ayton knows
Right.
he's like that third guy. But then they have all these like secondary pieces like Jay Crowder and Abdul Nader when he plays pretty well. It's just like Mikal Bridges, all these guys, they're just like decent basketball players, and you just put them with these really good players, and they make them look better than what they even are. Cam Johnson, like all these guys look better when they're on the floor with Book and Paul, and it just kind of shows how valuable those guys are.
Yeah. I mean, I completely agree. The depth that Phoenix has done and the way that Monty Williams runs the lineups and the fact that Saric is able to close and we haven't heard a peep out of Aiton, to me, that's good coaching. It seems like
Yeah.
everybody's bought in. At the same time, 10 points is a lot for a team on a back-to-back in Florida where we know they're having a good time. So,
Both teams on a back to back, right?
yeah, that's true. But Orlando was at home last night as well, right?
I think so,
Against
yeah.
Denver, where I lean towards Orlando again plus 7.5. They lost by 11. This is why I'm not betting these games, but here we're trying to give you a pick. We're giving you an opinion on every single game, and that's just the way that I lean. But yeah, I mean, I guess even if I get the news, I'm not going to bet it. But just if I'm picking every
That's
game,
that's what
I
I
lean
mean.
towards
It's like
Orlando.
if you're picking every game, I get taking the points because it's just
Yeah.
so many points. But this is a game where I don't know if you can pick. And before Joey Work, who followed JSU by getting on his knee, Joey Work, stop it. You're talking about Big T. All right, I could not shame Big T because I was his biggest backer. So stop it. I couldn't make fun of him. I was picking him to win. You guys should have been making fun of me and Big T because I was the one that jumped in and started the whole, he's minus 1,000 against Big T. Like, so I was wrong on that. So we cut it out with, me going easy on Tony. Like, yeah, would Tony have done that to me? Probably not. He probably would have made fun of me, but stop it. That's
I
just
was
how I
with you. I
am.
thought Big T was going to win till the beginning of the video, and Title's showing up, and he looks
When
like a
Title
hooper.
started
He
shooting
looked
those
like a
step,
hooper. I'm
when
like,
Title started
yeah,
shooting those step backs and warm up,
yeah,
I think the line went from minus 1,000 to
yeah,
like literally flipped to Title minus
yeah.
1,000.
I mean, he just looks so
Like,
smooth. I said,
uh,
this kid has some
God,
skills.
Joey Work, why don't you come on here and pick some winners? What are you doing in the chat? Come on, why don't you? We could use a third person right now. You can
Joey,
pick some winners.
if you need a link, let me know.
Yeah, please. Instead of talking this crap in the chat, he can just come on.
All right. Well, while we wait to find out whether or not Joey wants the link, let's jump in and talk about the Clippers, who are 28-16, 24-20 against the spread, heading to San Antonio to take on the Spurs, 22-18, 23-16 against the spread. Clippers laying 6 on the road with a total of 221. This is another game I don't know what to do with. I'm actually surprised that the Spurs didn't sell anyone either DeRozan. I understand Aldridge was probably hard to trade, but you think that someone would even at least given up like a second rounder for him. So I really didn't know what to think of this game. I guess I lean towards taking the points here, but it's definitely not one of the ones that I've placed a bet on so far. What do you think?
Yeah, same with me. That this game really just not that intriguing at all. Two
Mm-hmm.
teams that I don't really love picking on that much. But San Antonio is missing some decent players, some guys off the bench. Rudy Gay is a solid player that he gets decent minutes, and he's kind of key to their rotation, in my opinion. They're also without Lonnie Walker. Aldridge, they've been out with
Mm-hmm.
for a while. So they're missing some guys. And then on the Clippers side, it's like, I think like they're obviously they're the better team. Like that's clear, but
Mm-hmm.
where do you lean? Like I might lean the Clippers, honestly. Like I think they're much better than San Antonio right now. But it's not something I feel comfortable with. Like, we're going to get into, a couple other games at the end where I feel a little stronger about some of these games. So I think this is a game where, again, we just kind of dust it to the side, right? Unless we get some crazy
Yeah.
news like Kawhi Leonard or Paul George out or something like that, then we could revisit this situation.
Yeah, I mean the Clippers are tough here, right? Because the model. Okay, you do match up, right? You watch the tape, you see how the teams match up. Clippers should cover this. You run a model, okay? It's going to tell you the Clippers should cover this. But if any team doesn't care about the regular season, it's the Los Angeles Clippers. And guess what just happened? The Lakers are pretty much out of their hair now, right? So without that kind of like extra push or spur, whatever you'd like to call it, for the Clippers to stay ahead of the Lakers for that playoff seeding, I really think that their regular season is going to be a crapshoot from here on out. I think that Ty Lue has done a pretty good job with this team, and I think at this point they're getting ready for the playoffs. I don't know if they're necessarily interested about clocking wins or losses. I think they feel pretty comfortable that they can win on another team's home court the same way LeBron used to do in the East. So I'm not too interested in getting involved in Clippers games. Basically for the rest of the season, unless I really find some clear edge or something that I really think is a mistake put by the books. And that's on the sides. On the totals, I would actually be a little more inclined to get involved, and I would like the under here, except for we're missing Beverly and Ibaka, right? And just with those two being out, I think that really hurts the Clippers defense, and it's enough to keep me off the under with so many games on the card and so many other spots to bet. So I think we're pretty much in agreement here that there's no clear edge. Great job to the books for putting up a nice sharp line, and we'll move on to the next game. And that next game is let's talk about my Kings. They're hosting the Atlanta Hawks. Kings are 18 and 25, 18 and 24 against the spread. The Hawks are 22 and 21, 22 and 20 against the spread. The Hawks had that huge winning streak. Hoop and I both agreed we love the play. We gave it out at plus 6.5 on Monday night. They're up by 13 in the third quarter, right? I'm thinking at least a sweat-free victory we're going to get. And the Hawks had one of the worst meltdowns, unless you count the Chicago Bulls. Bulls have like 10 more worse meltdowns than that. But it was one of the worst meltdowns, non-Bulls related, of the season, as they weren't able to cover. Quite disappointing. Now they head up to Sacramento. A little easier skill level. See what they can do there. So Hawks are laying 3.5, I think, -3 right now. What do you think of this game? Do you like the road favorites here? The Hawks get back on track?
Yeah, I do like the Hawks here, and 8 of 9, right? They've won 8 of their last 9. Actually, they just lost the first game to the Clippers.
Yeah, they were
which
on an 8-game winning streak going
I
into
mean,
that.
yeah, the Clippers were
Yeah,
probably one of the best teams they faced out of that whole, 8 of 9 stretch
that's
there,
fair.
where they
Definitely.
kind of faced some weaker teams, right? The Lakers, and they were down a bunch of guys already. The Thunder, before that, the Rockets, Cleveland, the Kings. I mean,
Yeah.
those teams aren't the best, right? But they still won 8 in a row, which in the NBA, you win 8 in a row. That's pretty solid, right? So, and on top of it, they're getting a little healthier, right? They just got DeAndre Hunter back, which is a key piece for them. Came off the bench last game, played around 20 minutes. I would expect him again to play somewhere in that like 20 to 25 range, but getting him for his minutes back is huge. John Collins in this stretch has played really well.
Mm-hmm.
That's another guy who I think they've talked about maybe trading,
Yeah.
maybe possibly trading to some teams. So he's kind of showing out, right, and showing kind of his value and his worth. He's been doing a really good job. I just think it's a spot though where I don't like the way the Kings have been playing. Man, if you watch them, that Philly game spread. Did you watch that Philly game?
Yeah, because I was
It
on Philly and it was quite
Yeah,
enjoyable.
well, you're sharp as hell.
It was an
That
easy
was
cash.
that was one of the worst games I've watched all year, and I've watched as many basketball games as possible
Yeah.
all year. So that was one of the worst games I've seen all year from a team. The Kings looked terrible. And this was without Ben Simmons, without Joel Embiid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Matthias Thybulle was just making them look bad. Danny Green was on fire. Like, I mean, they just couldn't stop anybody. They defensively just struggle. They can't stop teams defensively. They get in ruts sometimes, and teams just get up on them big. And sometimes it's just too much to make up at a certain point. So I just like the way the Hawks are playing, and I think they're playing much better than Kings right now, and I like that they're getting a little healthier. So I'll take the Hawks here and just move on.
Yeah, I mean, a huge disadvantage the Kings have is that what most teams do, right, is they get a guy that knows a lot about basketball, and he's there to help the players, guide them, and make the proper substitutions. The Kings don't have that guy. The Kings have Luke Walton, who's out there not doing anything right. He's not developing any of these young players. He doesn't make any adjustments. The only thing that Luke Walton can do that's above average for an NBA coach is draw up plays out of a timeout. I'll give them credit for that. You watch what they run out of timeouts. They're usually pretty good. They're usually well set up and well thought out. But other than that, his rotations are terrible. The player development is terrible. And there's just no consistency and no accountability. So, I mean, to me, he's a bottom 5 coach in the NBA. I think that the Hawks, I liked Lloyd Pierce, but we're seeing, and I was already getting down on him as I was watching him kind of squander the talent at the beginning of the year.
Nate McMillan's a way better coach.
He's way better.
Let's just
yeah.
be honest.
Yeah, he's just way better. So he's probably a better point guard too, if I remember right. Lloyd Pierce, I don't think made the
I
NBA.
always liked Nate McMillan as a coach. I thought he was a really good coach, a strong defensive-minded coach.
Yeah.
But those coaches, like Lloyd Pierce was just not good, and Nate McMillan, you just look and see like this guy was on your bench as one of the other coaches. You're the head, like he should have been the head. It's just clear. I'm glad that he got the shot to be the head coach, and he's doing well with it.
And the Kings should do the same thing. They should fire Luke Walton and let Alvin Gentry take over, because it's like they have a better guy on their bench sitting right next to the guy that's making all the calls.
Oh, so Alvin Gentry's a way better coach than Luke Walton.
Yeah,
like way better.
Yeah, it's just unbelievable. But I'm completely with you here. I'm down to fade the Kings for most of the rest of the year, except for like situational spots, like spots where they're not, where they're rested, their opponent's 5-7, and we're going to see some of those. So it's not like anyone's just going to be a pure fade here.
Hey, spread. I mean, here's the thing: is you can fade them betting, but from a DFS standpoint, man, all their starters get like 35 plus minutes a game, so you don't have to fade them in DFS.
So are you going to put some of these guys in the lineup? Because I always mess around when you guys are on the NBA countdown and ask about De'Aaron Fox.
Yeah. I mean, I think the Kings starters are all really good plays because, like I said, these guys are pretty much playing 35 minutes a night. Like Harrison Barnes is sometimes getting 40. De'Aaron Fox last game played 38. Like they're getting high 30s minutes, close to 40 minutes. Almost in some ways consistently. Even Buddy Hield, who last year Luke Walton didn't want to play like 22 minutes, is getting like 35 plus minutes a game.
Last year though, with Bogdan Bogdanovic on the roster though, he had someone he can actually go to, right? I mean, now you take him out and you bring in Kyle Guy.
Yeah, so. No, that's true. I'm just saying he didn't want to play him at all. Like,
and Holmes is still getting the little fire symbols, and he's up to what, like 7,100.
Yeah.
And would you consider rostering him tonight, or does Capella pretty much take him out of the whole picture?
I would consider it. Holmes in 3 of his last 5 games has had 48 or more fantasy points. He's one of those guys. He's got a pretty high ceiling. Maybe it's not the easiest matchup against Capella, but at least with Holmes, one of the things that I worry about is with centers that love to catch the ball on the block and try and go to work, because foul trouble is always an issue, it seems like, with Holmes. So I like more bigs that, they offensively, that's not really how Capella gets his points, right? He gets them off of putbacks and, pick and roll and,
he's just a rim
finishing.
Runner.
He is a rim runner. Yeah. So I'm a little more comfortable with that. I hate when he's got to battle someone who's going to actually bang with them and get catches on the block. And he's always a risk for fouling. That's his like one downfall is he does it sometimes makes stupid fouls.
And also at the same time, I think he could put Capella in foul trouble too. So
Yeah.
that
Oh
will be
yeah.
something to keep an eye on as that game develops there, and you guys are filling out your lineups. The Brooklyn Nets is the final game of the night. They're heading to Utah. They're getting 10.5 points here. Is this so? It was 7 when I was going over all the games last night. Now
Oh,
it's 10
because
and a half.
James Harden, he got listed as questionable like 45 minutes ago.
Yeah. Are you just playing? Because if he's playing and I'm getting 10.5, I mean, like, you got to be kidding me.
All right. So first of all, where's Travis Man going for this segment?
Yeah.
Where is Man going?
Travis only jumps in the chat
So-
right after one of his props hits.
So let me tell you, yeah, exactly. That's Man going right there. So let me tell you something. So Man going, it's like 8:30 or 9. We get this news, and it says like Harden is a true game time decision or something like that. And Mangone's posting the chat. He's atting everyone. He's having a good time because Mangone like bet this game. So like
he did.
He bet the Portland side. So he was like praying that Harden didn't play. So on every show he did like the podcast, the our show, the bet show here, every show he did, the Hardwood show. He's like, oh, this is Harden's not going to play. I said on this show, if anyone watched this show, I said, stop it, Mangone. Yep. Harden's playing. All right. Yep. He's playing this game. Cut it out. Like, enough. He ends up playing. I'm texting Mangone. I'm having a good time with them. I'm like, oh, he goes, I had you guys sweating. I'm like, no, you didn't. Like, not one bit. I wasn't sweating when the game. Stop it. Like, he was playing that whole time. To me, it was ridiculous. Now, I think today is a little more worrisome because they're coming off of a back-to-back. This is where I could see them if they wanted to rest Harden, they could. But I still probably lean that he ends up suiting up. But I think you honestly have a better chance now saying he may not play just coming off the back-to-back and him being a little nicked up. But I still think he tries to play. Either way, though, the spread moved from 7 to 10.
Yeah, it's a 10.5. Let's say he's back in and the line's 8. Who would you take in that situation?
I really don't. I really don't like this spot for Brooklyn. I really think Utah puts it on, even though Utah hasn't really looked as good lately. Right. They've been kind of I want to say struggling.
Well, they were
but
playing so good they weren't going to be able to maintain that level for
so maybe that's
games.
So that's it, right? Like they were just playing so good, and now they're they just dropped off a little, right? And it was noticeable though, right? Like I noticed it. I think other people have noticed it. Like it's a noticeable drop off. But here, I mean, this is a prime spot for a Utah team where they've got all shooters, right? This is a team that they love taking that 3-point shot. They're really good at it too. They're very efficient with it. And then they've got the monster center down low. Even though some guys from Sports Illustrated and wherever else this guy works thinks he's an MVP candidate, which we can get to in a second.
Yeah, we will.
My guy 15. Spread over here thinks he's a top 15 player. But Rudy Gobert is going to destroy the Nets down low. Enes Kanter had like close to a 20-20 game against this team. And it was just an easy game. Like he just dominated from start to finish. It was to the point where Portland hates like leaving Kanter in. They really do because he plays no defense. But he was affecting the game so much on the offensive end. They had no choice. Yeah. Like he was just so good. And this is what I mean when you look at teams. You have to look at teams and say in players and say, okay, how did they affect this game? And this is where, like, I had Enes Kanter as a core play on FanDuel. And this is like, I knew for a fact that if he was dominating in the beginning like he was, they just weren't going to take him out because he just was going to affect the game so much because of how Brooklyn struggles guarding that position. And it just happened to a T, and he ended up seeing big minutes because of it, off of a few games where he barely saw, 24, 25 minutes, and he gets 30 plus there. So those are things that people don't ever think about and look at, and then they randomly see, oh, the guy had 30 minutes. So why did he get that? Like, you just got to think about how they could affect the game, and if that happens, projecting them for what you think could possibly happen, and that's how you kind of land there.
All right, let's say Harden's rolled out. Then, right? Is the Jazz -11 just an easy play?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, I think so too. I
Yeah,
mean,
I think so.
assuming no Greg Russo, no Kyrie Irving, that's for sure. Assuming like let's just say Harden sits.
Yeah,
Are
no,
you?
Kyrie should be out, right?
He's out. It's already confirmed out. At least on
Yeah, he should be
the one that
out.
we used. Yeah.
Yep.
Who would you end up rostering then? I mean, I'm assuming you would have to put if Harden sits, you would have to put some Nets in your lineup.
Yeah, TLC is the first one. He was the first guy that came off the bench. He's
Yeah, and he did well
3,100 on
yesterday.
DraftKings. He can
Yeah.
at least shoot the corner 3 too. So
Mm-hmm.
you want like against Utah, anyone that does damage down low, that's a tougher ask against Utah. Whereas I want guys who can create on the perimeter, or at least be able to shoot on the perimeter. TLC is one guy that pops up. Tyler Johnson would definitely get a boost. If James Harden's out, I would expect they come out with a report that said if Harden didn't start, Tyler Johnson would get the start. So I would assume he would get the start. So I think those are kind of the guys you look at, just because they're going to see monster minutes.
Yeah, so that'll definitely be interesting. Like I said, if Harden plays, I lean Brooklyn. Don't think I'll bet it. If I get that news and the line doesn't move like past 13, which is actually a possibility. But I'm assuming that the 3-point move already is the Harden move already, and that it'll probably only just move a half point from everybody just logging on and betting it like instantly. I like Utah up to -11 there if Harden sits. If it's +8 or more with Harden playing, I like Brooklyn.
Yeah, I mean, like, listen, if you think Harden plays, like, if you're for sure thinking Harden plays, I mean, maybe you take it if you think there's some real value at that 10 number right now.
Our guy Nick
But
Eberhard in the chat says Brooklyn Utah's on ESPN. Do you think that affects his availability at all, or does that
well,
even
that's a
matter?
good point actually, because don't teams get like fined for like?
They were supposed to, but have you actually heard of a fine being given out?
Yeah, I don't know if I've heard of it, but
Yeah, I haven't heard of any either. I remember they announced that, but I've seen plenty of players sit the big game so far, and I haven't seen one fine.
yeah, I mean, that's a good. I mean, I think he plays anyways. To be honest with you, that's just my feeling. Harden's a hooper. Like,
Yeah,
the dude wants to play. Like, maybe he woke up today and he was sore, and so they were
yeah,
just like, let's just put him on the injury report again. We can wait and see how he feels. Look, oh, all of a sudden, oh, we're gonna game time decision. All of a sudden, and then he goes, I'm fine. I'm good to go. Like,
yeah.
yeah, once he starts moving, he's good to go. Like, he's fine. So.
Yeah, I mean,
I
this
mean,
is
that's
the
my
same
feeling.
guy that did wrap towels around his waist when he was trying to get traded out of Houston, so he'd look fat in his warm up photos.
uh,
All right. Well, we made it through. We made it through the big card here. So now it's for time, and I see he's in the chat today, so he's definitely going to appreciate it. Gregory Russo's favorite segment. It's the best bets. JSU, what do you got? What is your best bet for the day?
oh man, we talked about so many games. Like, I'm
I
losing
know,
track
huh?
of
I
all
know. I'm going
the
over
games
too, and
that
I'm
we've
looking at what
talked.
I have open.
So one of the games that we talked about was for sure the Nuggets side, which
Oh yeah.
I really like. I like the Nuggets to win this game. I like them, so I'm going to take the Nuggets here. So that's going to be my favorite bet, I guess, if you want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I do also like the Hawks, and there was one other game I know for a fact we talked about that I'm blanking on right now. Both of us like the T Wolves. I think that was another game plus the points.
Mm-hmm.
I think we both like them. So yeah, well, I'll take those three for now. Those are the three I'm definitely gonna bet.
All right. So you have the Hawks, the T Wolves, and the Nuggets, right?
Yes.
All right, let's see. I got a lot of open bets here. All right, let me go through and see what we got.
You can't
Tinkling
talk about
Saint.
the Cleveland Chicago game because
Yeah,
that's
I'm not gonna let anyone know what the bet was there, but head on to runpurebets.com. You can go ahead, become a member, and you'll read the article on the spreadsheet with all the other winners given out by the rest of the Run Pure Bets team. And while I'm looking through those, looking for the play that I want
oh,
to give out.
spread. I know the one I was talking about. The MPJ over 16.5.
Oh yeah, I like
I
that one.
love that player prop. MPJ over 16.5 points. Was a
MPJ
player
over
prop I
16
like.
and a half. Let me place that bet too right after I give out this best bet. Oh gosh. So here, I'll let you help me. I'm trying to decide between the over in the Mavericks and the Timberwolves, or the Pacers at -6.
Over.
All right, we're going over in the Mavericks and the T Wolves. So guys, thank you everybody for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to the channel, head on over to runpurebets.com for all the information you need to become a member of the Run Pure team. You can I do the value, do both. Use the code HEATER25, $100 a month, but you're going to get 25% off your first month. You're going to get access to all the cores, all the playbooks, and all the picks. I'm doing that quick because we're doing a special bonus section today, and it's where does Rudy Gobert rank in the top 30 players? So let me see if I can do
So
this.
So before you say anything, though, just for the Miz, if you're still watching, we have a NBA props live show for Monkey Knife Fight. Specifically, Holden and Title are going live to do that. So I just retweeted the link. If you want to check that out, it's on my Twitter at JSURab. I just retweeted the link. So check that out. That's Monkey Knife Fight props. They're talking all Monkey Knife Fight winners for tonight's NBA.
All right. So, if you guys want to stick with us, what we're going to do now is I'm going to show you. I made a list of all the players that I think are the top players in the NBA. And we're going to have JSU go ahead and critique my list. And this was off my idea that I said.
Tell them, though, what you said, though,
I
because
said
this
Rudy
is
Gobert was a top 15 player in the NBA.
he said top 15 player in the NBA. Rudy Gobert is a top 15 player. So he's telling me that if we were drafting right now, he would take Rudy Gobert at least 15th or even higher. I don't even
Right.
know. So,
But
I
to be
mean,
fair, we're going for one season, right? So potential doesn't count, right? So,
that's fine.
okay. So this is
That's
just
fine.
for this season. Okay.
Yeah.
So here's my top tier. Do you see it on the screen?
Yes, I see it.
I mean, it's pretty fair,
So,
right? This is pretty easy. I don't think any of this stuff is really debatable. I mean, you could say maybe Harden should be ahead of Steph, or
yeah. I
right.
mean, I
But I
think
mean,
Harden should be, but yeah, I mean, that's, yeah.
right.
I think this
Okay.
is fine. Yeah. Fine
All
with that.
right. So let me get rid of that, and then let's go to the. Where's my second screen? My second tier. Oh wait, that's my top. Hold on, I'm not as good at sharing the screen as everyone else. The second tier.
Yeah, that's right, Nick. Rudy will be top 15 tonight. Yeah,
Yeah.
he might be one of the top 5 scorers tonight, but that don't mean he's a top 15 player overall. Oh, see, I'm seeing disrespect already.
All right. What don't you like here?
Jimmy Butler's 12? No. Jimmy Butler is a winner. That dude is a winner. He's stone cold winner. I think he's higher. I also think Joel Embiid's higher. Um, Honestly, Jokic is like I really like this bottom tier. Like I'm a huge Luka fan. I
I
might rank some of these guys higher than the guys you have ahead. To be honest with you,
All right. So who would we take off the other list and put in here?
I think I'm dropping down Giannis and Steph and
Wow.
maybe AD
So
for like
Giannis, who has
MV.
2 MVPs, and Steph, who
Yes,
has 3 titles, and the
because
greatest offensive season of all time.
I need someone who's gonna win me I need someone who's gonna win me a championship, and I know Giannis can't do that because he can't take a game-winning shot. He can't hit one of those. Jimmy Butler can do it. That dude's ice in his veins. He could hit those game-winning shots. So could Luka, Joel Embiid, Jokic, Dame Lillard, all those guys. That's just me, anyways. I look at it like, give me the guy who not just affects the game the most, but who can actually win the game at the end too. You can't put the ball in Giannis's hands and say, "Go create a shot and win the game for me." unless he's dunking the ball. And if you're a
Right. But a
team,
lot of times he's doing so well, they're up by 12 at the end of the game, so it doesn't matter.
yeah, but in the
Because he's
playoffs, defense tightens, and it's not as easy to do it anymore. That's what Giannis has noticed the last few
yeah.
seasons. In the regular season, it's a lot easier to score than in the postseason, and especially at the end too.
That's fair, but I mean, Jimmy Butler's averaging like half the points that Giannis is. He's like what, at 17 a game?
Yeah, I'm not
Giannis
saying
is
that
at
Jimmy
like
Butler can
29.
average what Giannis averages, but I'm telling you right now that Jimmy Butler at the end of the game, give me Jimmy Butler at the end of the game with the ball over Giannis.
All right, okay, and that's fair. I mean, I thought Butler was kind of the hardest person to put on this list. In fact, I didn't even have him on this tier at first, and I kind of was kicking myself because I said he's not in the third tier.
He deserves it.
If you look at the numbers of all these other guys, right? I mean, even from like a DFS, right? These guys are all guys with 70 potential, and then you look at Butler, who has like what, 50 potential.
Well, I mean, he's had some 60-point games because he's been.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. This season, he's had a few triple doubles. Like, he's been playing really well. And in the bubble, he played
but
really,
I got
really
three guys
well.
ahead of him that are almost averaging triple doubles, and Jokic, Embiid, and Doncic.
No, I'm just telling you, I like this. I love this tier.
All right. Let's go
There's
some
some
tier,
winners.
and this is where I think we're gonna really get the. We're really gonna.
Is this where Rudy Gobert is?
Yeah, you're gonna. Oh wait, hold on, I hit the wrong button. You're. This is where I think we're really gonna get the good reaction here. So here's the third tier. I put him at 16. So now I figure now's when you're gonna be able to start going.
Oh, so. Ben Simmons is 19.
He's the second best defensive player in the league.
Donovan Mitchell is below Ben Simmons and Rudy Gobert. Donovan Mitchell, I'll take Donovan Mitchell.
Mitchell's not the best defender, though.
It doesn't matter, though. I'll take him 10 times over Rudy Gobert. Rudy Gobert, for everything he does, great defensively. Like, in my opinion, he'll never be the number one player on a team, ever. Like, ever, 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 ever. Like, all these other guys that we have, these guys could all, like Jason Tatum could literally be, he has the talent to be, no doubt, a number one player on a team. Like, no doubt, carry a team. I would put him over Gobert.
Well, I have him over Gobert. That's fair.
Well, no, you have Jason Tatum 18.
I have Tatum at 14. I have Tatum on here twice.
Oh, you have him on there twice. Which one's right? Is it Tatum at 18 or 14?
Yeah, he was supposed to be at 14. I forgot to take him because I realized fair. I was like, I can't have him.
Donovan Mitchell, though, I would put Donovan Mitchell ahead of him for sure. I think Bradley Beal is ahead of him.
Okay, and so the reason I put these guys at the bottom, right? Cat, Beal, Mitchell, and Levine, right? They're all just terrible defenders. And for Beal, Mitchell, and Levine, you can get away with it, right? Because the point of attack defender can be saved by a rim protector. But for Karl Anthony Towns, he sinks their whole defense by not being able to – he can't even play average level defense, right? So it's just like if you don't have good rim protection, you're not going to be a good team overall. So that's why I have Gobert ahead of Cat.
That's fair, but overall, like I said, I think I could build a team around a lot of these guys a lot easier than I could around Rudy Gobert being my number one best player. Like, I know he's great defensively, but you couldn't run an offense through Rudy Gobert.
But I don't need to because there's so many more guys that can get buckets compared to guys that can rim protect.
So you think Rudy Gobert could be the best player on your team and you go win a championship?
I mean, if you surround
because I think Donovan Mitchell could be the best player on a team. I'm just saying, I think Donovan Mitchell could be the best player on a team and go win a chip.
So you really think that if they lost Mitchell, they would be more hurt than by losing Rudy? Because I think if they lose Rudy, they're not able to get any stops.
Yeah, but I think
think how bad Ingles and Bogdanovich would look on the wing without Gobert basically backing them up.
Yeah, but in the playoffs, who are you giving the ball to at the end?
Right. Yeah, that's
you giving it to Mike Conley to do what Mitchell did in the bubble last year? Come on, now, come on. What are we saying here? I mean, Mitchell. I get it though. You're ranking defense higher than offense, which I do understand. I just think at the end of the day, if your best player can't put the ball on the floor and create a shot for himself,
Right.
he is not he can't be on the winner. Like he can't. Like Kyrie Irving, LeBron James when he couldn't shoot, he still had other guys who could. Kyrie Irving hit so many big shots in some of those finals, like so many big shots. He was unstoppable. And LeBron James was great. I'm not saying he wasn't, but I'm just saying like Kyrie Irving, hit some daggers in those finals where you just need that guy. You don't have him, you're lost. And I think you take Donovan Mitchell out, you lose that guy.
All right, and I figured this is where I'm really going to get some reactions out of you. So I figure I'd put this one up, and this is a bunch of guys that I thought, you might think that they're better than Gobert. So is there name all the guys off my little fourth tier that you would rather have than Gobert?
Yeah, so Kyrie Irving, as much as I don't like the way he acts, like he is just he is just such a good basketball player. I don't know how you can have him at 26. Like
Because he's one of the worst defenders in the league, and
I
I don't even know when he's going to show up for work.
I know, but he just see it's like bias though because I agree with you that it's annoying that he doesn't always play and he'll take randomly just be like, oh, I'm not showing up today. But as a talent in basketball, Kyrie Irving is like he. You could honestly tell me Kyrie Irving is the number one offensive player in the league,
Uh-huh.
and I don't know if I would like even bat an eye. Like maybe I'd say like no, it's
No,
James
he's
Harden,
not.
but dude, Kyrie
Harden's
Irving can
better.
get a
Jokic is
bucket.
better on offense.
Harden can get a. I mean, I'm sorry,
Okay,
Kyrie Irving can
you're
get a
talking about
bucket whenever
scoring.
he wants.
You're talking
Yeah,
about scoring because Harden's a way better passer. Jokic is a way better
yeah.
passer, right?
No, I'm talking about just scoring the
Okay, just
basketball,
scoring. All right,
just
that's
going to
fair.
get a
And I
bucket. Like,
guess because, and here's the way I'm looking at it, right? There's so many guys in the NBA that can get a bucket. Every single
yeah.
guy that's in the NBA dropped usually at least 20 a game in college and dominated at every level. So
I
when
guess
you're
it's
building
just the
these
way in
championship
which he does
teams,
it, spread. I think it's just the way in which he does it. It's so cool to watch him play because he really does.
aesthetically, yeah.
He
If we're
does
going
like
like best
dance with the
highlights, it's top
basketball.
five.
Let's
Yeah.
be honest. Like he literally dances with like he is the one of the best dribblers I've ever watched. Like with the
Oh,
basketball
yeah.
in game,
Yeah.
the moves he does.
He's the
I
best
mean,
I've seen since Isaiah Thomas. And I'm
I
talking
mean,
about
the
the original Isaiah
defenders are
Thomas.
like the defenders, even the great defenders are like he is so hard to keep in front of you. It's just
Right.
unbelievable, and that's like the ultimate respect, in my opinion, when you've got some of like the best defensive players who do you not want to see? And they're like Kyrie Irving, like the dude is just so hard to keep in front of you. Like it's just a fact.
But I knew you were going to come with this, and here's my one little argument that I prepared because I knew that Kyrie Irving's going to jump off for you here. If you were to trade Kyrie Irving and Rudy Gobert right now, right, the Nets win the championship, and the Jazz would be like the fifth seed in the West.
Wait, so if we were to
You just
trade
switch them right
the
now. Nets get Gobert, and the Jazz get Kyrie Irving.
yeah, because the Nets don't need Kyrie. They got KD and Harden. So it's
That's my
like,
point. That's
yeah,
my
of
point.
course. I
I'm
mean,
giving you the elite rim protection that's
but
so hard to find.
that's building a roster though. Like they already have two scores. They don't need a third.
I knew it wasn't necessarily
You
the
know,
best faith argument, but I think that
uh,
you do have to admit if you switch them out, the Nets are
how
by
about
far the
this? How
slam
about
dunk
this?
for the title.
If Portland somehow pulled off a trade and they got Rudy Gobert with Dame and CJ, I think that instantly makes them a top team in the entire league. Whereas right
Oh
now
yeah, exactly. Yeah,
their defense is so bad
yeah.
that you can't even say like I think Portland's going to win like no they in the end they're not going to have the defense to win it. But if they somehow got someone like him, then it puts them right into the conversation. Like because you already have two go-to scorers. Rudy Gobert doesn't even have to think about scoring. He just has to play defense and get rebounds. Like that's all he has to do.
And I guess part of my idea is here. There's probably like 20 elite scorers in the NBA, and there's probably only 5 elite rim protectors, right? I mean, who do you say the best rim protectors are? Gobert's number one. Embiid's up there. Capella's up there. Like who am I missing here that's protecting the rim at this elite level?
Capella, Gobert. Yeah, I mean, Joel Embiid can protect the rim.
Yeah,
I
I think
mean,
he's up there. He's definitely up there, and that's why to me Embiid is so much farther. He was the one that I can't like argue like Gobert because it's like
again, I think Embiid could be the most dominating basketball player in the NBA, just
yeah.
overall, just like what he can do. Um, but I think Jokic might be the most skilled with his size and just the way he plays the game. So it's like, you know, different players, right? Different overall, but
All right. Well, I
so
just
many
threw
good
this
players.
together real quick after our conversation yesterday. But did you have any more comments about my fourth tier? Because this is where it really just got muddy for me to
I
try and start
mean,
putting these players
the
in
fourth
here.
tier is tough. Like I would put Kyrie Irving higher. I would probably put uh, maybe maybe I would put Vucevic higher too, 34th. That seems kind of low to me. Like I think I'd put him ahead
I had
of
him low just off the poor defense, I think, and just the
yeah.
idea that like Fox
You
and Young,
see
you can get away with it.
you weighted defense really high in your rankings, which I don't hate. I'm just saying you
Yeah, well, when it
definitely
comes to winning the championship, right? I mean, these one-way players aren't going to get it done, right? I mean, all the
yeah,
great
but
teams I
you're
remember
talking
have
about
elite
like putting a
defenses.
team together because I can come back and say no team with Rudy Gobert as their best player is winning a championship. That's the truth. Not in this NBA. Not when you got like Harden and KD on the same team. They that's just not going to happen. Not when you got
Yeah,
LeBron and AD on the
I
same
guess
team.
that's fair. But if you kind of cheat like me and you put Gobert ahead of guys like Mitchell, then he can, right?
Oh god, we talk all this crap about Gobert. Gobert's about to put up like a 2020 game with like
Oh, I
5
know.
blocks too, which is like the best part about this whole thing.
Yeah.
Uh,
All right. Well, guys, thanks for sticking around for the little bonus section. That just kind of came off.
Gregory Russo liked to talk about my Washington pick yesterday. Yes, Gregory, it was hideous. I was just as sick. I'm glad that we all were on the New Orleans side and spread gave that as his best bet. So I'm glad we were on that. So hopefully you hit that one and hopefully you picked up on the Suns too because that was another one like.
Yeah, let's go over them all one more time just for Gregory Russo in the chat. So
Oh,
we
and
gave out.
did we not hit on the fact that the Lakers are just going to be terrible with all these guys out? Like,
Oh
I
yeah,
don't think people were
yeah.
ready for how bad they're going to be. Just keep taking teams against the Lakers without LeBron and AD. Like,
You know
that
what?
was a
You
hideous
know what I'm
line.
rooting
Like, in
for
my
now, right?
opinion.
I want the Warriors Lakers playing game. That's what I
Oh, that's
want.
what you want.
That's what I'm rooting for. One game to take them all out. Steph Curry, Draymond going against LBJ and AD. I mean, like that's ratings right there. That's money right there.
No way
Uh,
LeBron loses that game.
yeah.
There's
So
just no way. He
the
would
pick.
never hear the end of it. It's like there's no way he would lose that game.
I want to see that so bad. I think they'd have a chance, right? Curry and Draymond know how to beat him. So the plays for today, we like the Nuggets -2. We liked the over in the Minnesota Timberwolves. We like the Hawks -3. Did you give out the Timberwolves +8.5 as well?
I think both of us were on that side. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Michael Porter Jr. over 16.5 points. Guys, NBA Hardwood Live will start at what, 4:45 tonight? Yeah, 4:45. And then JSU, if you're a member of runpuresports.com, JSU's final countdown starts at, I think, about 6:15 this evening. If you're not a member, head on over to runpuresports.com. Use the promo code HEATER25. Become a member of both the Run Pure Sports and the Run Pure Bets team. You'll get access to the cores. You'll get access to the best bets of the day and to the ultra valuable Discord, complete with K-Falix charts. Thanks for joining me, JSU. Do you got anything else before we get out of here?
No, hopefully it's a fun slate. Hopefully we're sitting in the winning column at the end of the slate.
Yeah, I would feel like we can because just like Rudy Gobert, we're all about our defense. Thanks for joining us, guys, and run pure.